Hi, I'm Dana Swazo with One Thread Healing, and this is the Ascended Thread podcast. And Andrea and I created this podcast just to have fun, talk, gab with all of our friends, our talented friends. And in the process, we get to give you very informative information. So, Andrea, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm Andrea Clem, owner of The Way Home to You. And today I'm really excited because we are talking with a friend of both of ours, somebody that we've known for quite some time who's super talented, Joyce Jarrell. And Joyce has really been a lifelong student of metaphysics, and she does so much from channeling to using the emotion, body, and belief code, which I have worked with her personally on, as well as working in the Akashic Records. So, Joyce, I'm going to let you kind of take it on, tell us so much more about yourself, and let us know how you got started in this.
And Joyce, before you do, can I interrupt you? Because I find it very fascinating that both Joyce and I started out in very corporate life as in legal. We both come from the legal field where we worked for law firms forever when we were in corporate. So yes, tell us how you got started on where you're at now.
Absolutely. That was a whole different world.
Yes.
Um, we had to kind of dance around and be perfect and look perfect and act perfect.
Yeah.
And we worked with lawyers. I did that since I was in my 20s. This is quite a different world. And in that setting, we couldn't be ourselves. We couldn't talk about emotion or anything like that. It was very rigid, and it was all about them. But this all started actually in my childhood because I was sexually abused as a child, and I knew I had a lot of issues. Um, and I was always looking to figure out, how do I fix me? How do I become comfortable with myself, happy with myself? So I was always looking for answers, and I heard the word karma when I was about 20, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And so I just started delving in and reading. Um, I used visualization from when I was in my 20s and had some remarkable things come to pass because of that. So I was always studying, always reading, and oh my God, I was always getting psychic readings because I didn't have strong clairs at the time. And I just could be a reading junkie. And thankfully, I grew out of that beginning and started doing my own searching. And I had weight issues from very, very young. Wanted to get to the bottom of that. Wanted to solve it. Wanted to find the answers. So I've studied everything, and I have a whole folder full of certifications, but nothing that really worked the way I wanted it to. And then in about 2019, a good friend of mine said, she was at that time, I was teaching channeling, and I'm an open channel. And one of my students said, hey, I am getting certified in the emotion code. Can I practice on you? So I said, sure. Having no idea what it was about, or what I was going to get out of it. And so she did the work in the background, and then she called me a couple days later and told me everything she found. And oh my God, I filled like 3 pages worth of trapped emotions. For anyone out there that doesn't know, intense emotions that you experience and you're not able to express them, they become energetically stuck in your field, and they do not go away until you find a way to clear them. And while they're lodged in your field, they can do damage. causing you all sorts of physical ailments, emotional issues, and things like that. So my friend Peggy called me and she said, "Oh my God, are you ready for this?" And so I got my pen out and I had 3 pages worth of emotions that she had cleared initially just in the first go round. And, you know, after listening to all that, I had an overnight shift where I just stopped eating. I didn't overeat. I became extremely conscious of my true hunger, which I was not really connected to before that. But I became very conscious of that. And to make a long story short, I just dropped 22 pounds like overnight. So I'm like, I don't know what this is about, but I got to have it. I've got to learn more. So I became certified in the emotion code. And then they came out with the body code. And so I went ahead and got certified in the body code. And Peggy and I started talking about, well, beliefs have to be a part of this. This has got to be important. We know this is deeper. We know that your beliefs sort of are your rudder and they point the direction of your life. So we started jotting down possible beliefs, and you know, we're always into what can we figure out next, what can we do next, what can we, and we experimented on each other. Well, then Dr. Bradley, who was the author of these modalities, then came out with the belief code. And so I became certified in that. And the 3 of them work synergistically together. If you start with the belief code, it then leads you through the body code and the emotion code, and all of it just works beautifully together. May I share my screen and show you kind of what it looks like?
Yeah, that'd be great.
There's actually an app online. So this is what the emotion code looks like. It is just 1 page of emotions. And what I do is I connect with my client. I ask their permission to connect with their subconscious mind. And then I ask what emotions they have trapped and are ready to let go of at this time. And I use a pendulum. Other people use other forms of muscle testing, but I prefer the pendulum. So I'm able to clear emotions. And the way that we clear them after we identify them, we start with the governing meridian, which starts right under your nose, like at your upper lip, and it goes up over the top of your head and down to your tailbone. So I can take a magnet and simply take the magnet and clear those emotions for that person. And they're gone. Like 3 swipes will generally do it, and they're gone. So this is just 1 page, and this is what we had to work with at first. Then they created the body code. And this is what the screen looks like for that. And it's everything physical and everything emotional. My favorite tab is energy, post-traumatic. There are things like physical emotional shock. And your subconscious mind directs me to where I need to go to find and clear an issue. And so it will direct me to this page. And then physical emotional shock, for instance, is if something really traumatic happened to you, so much so that you're affected physically and emotionally. And you can recall times that you've felt traumatized and you're actually sick to your stomach, or you get a headache or whatever. That's the physical portion. And then the the emotions that go along with it can be very deep. So that's kind of what that portion looks like, and it goes into all of your circuits and systems. It goes into all of your chakras. Let's see. It will measure whether you're completely inside, whether your energy field is inside your body, or if you've been traumatized and you're part in and part out, then we're able to correct that. Covers all sorts of misalignments. And that's where you get into the meridians and the chakras. So it's quite comprehensive. And Dr. Nelson, who created it, was a chiropractor. So he's got all this background. So it was easy for him to put all of this together. So I became certified in that and worked in that for quite a while. Then they created the belief code and they added that on. And these are the 6 main areas. And once you're into the belief code, what I do is I say, does Dana have a belief system that is causing her issues around prosperity, let's say? And if I get a yes, I find out what type of belief system it is. And then the belief systems have several parts to them. Things like negative programs, limiting beliefs, faulty core beliefs, and a faulty core identity. And these are very deep in your subconscious. All of this stuff goes back. You can track its origin. And it can go back to when you were in the womb. Because when you're in the womb, you hear what's going on outside mama's tummy. And, you know, if the parents are arguing and saying, oh my God, we can't afford another child. I can't believe we're pregnant again. Well, that little baby is absorbing everything that it hears, and it's creating beliefs around this information. So when I identify with something, I ask, when did this originate? So I would say, when did this start? Was Dana 25 or younger? Get a yes or a no. So if it's yes, I narrow it down to when you were 6 years old. And I say, gosh, Dana, what happened to you when you were 6 years old? And you're like, oh my God. I was the youngest child, and then my brother was born. And I was so used to getting all the center of attention. And it was really traumatic for me. And I hated my brother. And I was like, take that kid back to the hospital, you know. So all of these things, when I come up with these dates and questions, and I ask you, you're like, I haven't thought about that in decades. Well, you might not have thought of it, but it didn't go anywhere. And it is lodged in your energy field. And so you can think, oh, I'm over that. That's no big deal. You know, it's like, you know, you got divorced and it was tough at the time, but you're like, I'm fine. I'm past all of that stuff. But you're really not, because all of that stuff is still buried within you. So, you know, there's a system that I use to identify all of this stuff and clear all of it. And then I'm able to replace it with a positive statement. We clear everything out. And I'm clairvoyant. So I will say, how many belief systems does Dana have in this area that we need to clear? and I'll just see a number. I'll see an 8. So it's like, okay, we've got 8 systems that we need to clear. And so that's a huge part of what I do. It includes all of the emotional stuff you would expect, and then unexpected stuff, like chords and curses. There's something called a broadcast message, and that is an energy that you put out without even realizing it. And going with the name, you're unconsciously broadcasting it to the world based on what you believe about yourself. So you might be trying to develop your business, get farther in your business, and you might not know it, but you're transmitting a broadcast message that says, I'm not capable, I'm not competent, I'm not confident. Mm-hmm. So you're doing things to advertise what it is you offer, and people look at you and they're like, yeah, but I'm getting something else. And so they back away from working with you, because even though you have all these trainings and qualifications, they're getting another message subconsciously. They don't even know why. They're going, yeah, that doesn't resonate. She doesn't resonate. So there's so much to this system.
Right.
It goes so deeply. And so I've been working with this since 2019 was when I began. But I also learned the Akashic Records. And what I figured out was all of this with the emotion code, body code, and belief code, that's for relevant stuff in this lifetime. But I wasn't initially aware, pardon me, of how much an effect our past lives have on our current life. We've brought those energies in, and we're not conscious of them. So, but they're still affecting our everyday lives. So I started going into my own records and looking at my past lives. And I started out by asking, do I have past lives that have contributed to me having issues around food or around sugar? And they showed me, which one should I tell you about? They showed me a past life where I was a young boy, like in Ethiopia or something. And I was traveling with my family by foot. And we were taking all of our wares to a village to sell. And I was a boy of about 7 years old, and I was dawdling. I was behind, and my family was up ahead, parents and siblings. And there was a rock slide, and it came down and it crushed and killed my whole family.
Oh, wow.
And so here I was at 7 years old, nobody to care for me. And so I made my way to the village. I had no money. All of the wares we were taking to sell were crushed and destroyed. I didn't have anything to barter with. Oh, wow. And so from that young age, I had to figure out how to take care of myself, how to feed myself, just the most basic stuff. So I was like this little barefoot urchin. I don't recall my name now, but when I'm in the records, I can usually get the first name of the person, sometimes the year. I so wish I had paid better attention in history class.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you're going back a long ways, I just wish I had retained more of that information.
Right, right.
But here I was, this street urchin who had to steal to eat.
Mm.
And, you know, I would run up and other people had their food and their wares all set out at the market. And I would just run over and grab something and run. And they'd be, oh boy, you. And they'd be throwing rocks at me, you know, like, get out of here, kid, just stop stealing. And so food became a thing of scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing I could count on. So that was one of the lifetimes. So I've started playing with the pendulum and working with spirit. I have found that I can clear those past life energies so that they no longer affect our current life.
Right.
So it's sort of a two-pronged attack, to clear everything current and then to go back and look at what occurred in a past life and how it might affect me in a current life and clear all of those energies as well. And so doing that work has created a further shift in me. And I forget to eat. Um, I I don't eat until I'm like, oh my God, I'm starving. I've got to eat. How long has it been since I last ate? So, you know, I've put those two modalities together, and it's working really well for people. The Akashic Records they're fun. I mean, it's fun to look at past lives. And it's just something that is easy for me. And it's so informative. Another past life I had was around sugar. I was a young Black girl, very chubby, and I lived in Louisiana. And my father was the foreman for a man who owned sugarcane fields. And sugar was worshipped, sugar was king. And I was very young. And so it, you know, in my mind, I was so indoctrinated that, you know, sugar is it. Sugar is wonderful. I was also sexually abused in that lifetime. So much carries forward and so much affects you in this lifetime that you have no conscious memory of. So I'm able to give people that, to fill in that blank, to give them that conscious awareness of what happened to them in the past. And all of those energies have stuck and they've carried forward. And you're remember it or not, it's affecting you. It's all in your energy field. So those are the two areas that I work with mainly. And when I'm in the Akashic Records, there is a healing area called the light grid. And I lead you to the light grid. And little monks come with little pots of salve and their brush, and they work on you because when I clear something, I've pulled it all out, and I think of a field of turnips. You pull them all out, and then what you've left behind, the earth is all broken up and messy. And so that's sort of what I've done to your energy field when I clear everything. And so healing needs to take place.
Right.
So these monks come with their little pots of salve and their brushes, and they brush over your entire energy field, and they fill in all of the areas that I have disrupted by removing these energies. So it allows you the healing portion to go along with the clearing, because it's equally important. And in that area of the Akashic Records, there's a healing pool that they have you get into. And you lie back and just enjoy the warm waters. And then very often from the back of this, it's a healing tunnel that we go into. And very often from the back of the tunnel, someone comes forward. There's often a white horse with Archangel Michael on the back of the horse, and he will come forward. And since I'm a channel, I'm able to channel to the client a message directly from Michael.
Oh, nice.
So I record that. So they're getting this channeled message as well, which can be very timely. It's just sort of a bonus. It's like the cherry on top of the sundae. And then they will say how many nights in that healing tunnel that you need to complete your healing from the clearing that you got. And I instruct your high self to bring you back to that healing tunnel at night when you go to sleep. And I leave that portal open, and you don't have to do anything. It just takes you there automatically. And they might say you need 7 nights of healing. And so whenever you fall asleep, your high self just takes you to that area, and you get continued healing through however many nights they prescribe as what you need for healing. So
Nice.
that's kind of what I do.
That's nice.
Yeah. It's really cool how you combine your gifts that you have from channeling to being able to go into the Akashic Records and also use this tool, which seems like a really great way to identify what people have to work through and then clear it and stuff. So that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is all thanks to Dr. Nelson that he created something so wonderful.
Right.
And it's just very complete, very exacting. And after I finish a session, I type up all the notes and I send them to the client so that they have a record of what we did. And I wish that everybody could be cured in one session, but it didn't happen to us overnight, so it's not going to go away instantly.
Yeah.
So it can take several sessions, but I do offer packages to make it more affordable. And I do everything on Zoom, so I can work with people anywhere in the world.
Very nice. Now you're also getting ready to teach some classes, right?
Or teach a free class, right?
Yes, I've just become associated with the Be Brilliant Network, and that is free to all attendees. And the teachers will teach a monthly class. And I'm going to be doing the 4th Saturday of every month at 11 o'clock. And I'll spend an hour, and whoever signs up to attend that, again, it's on Zoom and it's live. And whoever signs up to attend it, I'll get their information from ahead of time, and I'll open their Akashic records and tell them about one of their past lives.
Nice. That's great.
Really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And that's this Saturday, right? On Zoom at 11 a.m., right?
Yes.
Mountain time.
Through the Be Brilliant network.
Okay. All right. And we'll put that in our comment section, that website, the www.bebrilliantnetwork.com, right?
Right.
Yes. And then we'll also put your email information if people want to reach out to you in the comment section.
Yes, I'm in the process of redoing my website, so it's not ready to be published.
Right.
But anyone can email me, and I'll get back to them quickly. And I'm happy to, just do a session to answer their questions, to find out what their concerns are, and how this might work to help them with the issue that they're most concerned with.
Okay, great. And do you want to just tell them your email address real quick? And we will put it in the comment section.
Okay,
too.
it's my name, Joyce M. Jarrell, JARRELL @gmail.com.
Great. Yes, and we will put both those that website, the Be Brilliant website, and then your email address in the comment section.
Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
For the reference. Thanks so much for giving us information on this. It's really fascinating information.
Oh, thank you
And
for having
it
me.
is amazing how much something, and it could even be a past lifetime, how it's still in our body and it's affecting us. So
Right. And the myriad of things that we think, oh, I'm over that, I'm past that.
right.
And on one level you are, but the
Mhm.
energies are still there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I can attest because Joyce and I have worked on this using these codes and all of her stuff. We've worked on both my relationship with food and also how, past relationships have affected, my ability to go into new ones. And I will say it's been very, very helpful and changing the way that I look at things and the way that I feel things. So it's really cool. She's very cool. So I highly
Yeah.
suggest checking out her information below and checking her out. So thank you so much.
Yes,
Go ahead
thank you
and
for
say something.
being willing to be our guest today.
Thank you for having me. I was just going to add that this is good for physical issues, emotional issues of all types, inability to sustain a good relationship, find a relationship. It works on so many things, and anyone that just wants to chat about, hey, do you think what you're doing could help me with this? I'm glad to have that conversation, complementary with anybody that just needs a little bit more information.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We
Thanks.
appreciate you.
All right. Thank you for joining us, and thank you all for coming and listening to us today. We'll have new podcast, 2 new ones coming out in February. But again, Joyce, thank you so much for joining us, and everybody have a great rest of your week.
And like and subscribe our channel.
That's right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.